In this limit, notice that x is approaching negative infinity and we have a square root involved. With situations like this, it's helpful to recall what the square root is actually doing. So a very simple example, square root of 9. Intuition probably tells you that that is positive 3, but it could also be negative 3 depending on the situation. More specifically, let's look at the square root of 1 over x to the 6. If we simplified that, typically we would think of that as 1 over x cubed. But it could also be negative depending on the situation. So keep that in mind when dealing with limits where x is approaching negative infinity. Other than that, we're going to approach this the same way we always have. We're going to divide the numerator and denominator by the highest power of x that occurs in the denominator. In this case, that highest power in the denominator is the square root of x to the 6, which we have something similar over here. We can multiply by the reciprocal, which we have here, or 1 over x cubed. So we'll multiply the top by 1 over x cubed and the bottom by 1 over x cubed. And now we have the limit as x approaches negative infinity of 3 in the numerator, and in the denominator we have 1 over x cubed times the square root of 9x to the 6 plus x. At this point, we want to simplify the denominator a little bit. In order to do that, we need to rewrite 1 over x cubed as the square root of 1 over x to the 6th. And at this point, it may be beneficial to go ahead and just make that radical a negative. And the reason we're doing this is because we're approaching negative infinity. That x value is very large negative. Intuition is going to tell you that it's positive, but we just need to remember to just place that negative there. Now we have the limit as x approaches negative infinity. In the numerator, we have a 3. And in the denominator, let's push this fraction inside of the other radical. So we have the square root of 9x to the 6 over x to the 6 plus x over x to the 6. And again, there's a negative out front here. Limit as x approaches negative infinity of 3 over the square root of 9 plus 1 over x to the 5th. Now we can evaluate the limit. This denominator is getting very large, negative. So even though it's a negative denominator, it's still going to 0, approaching 0. So we have 3 over negative square root of 9 plus 0. That's 3 over negative 3, or negative 1.